When the IDF went into Jenin on a counterterrorism operation, a 16-year-old Palestinian girl was unfortunately killed. The media immediately blamed Israel, and the U.S. called for accountability. According to a new poll, the majority of Palestinian Arabs in Judea and Samaria are fed up with the Palestinian Authority. I'm Justin, and this is the Israel Guys. Welcome to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of Jew hatred and anti-Israel propaganda, you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. Guys, make sure to like this video, also subscribe to our channel, hit that little notification bell so you never miss an episode of the Israel Guys. We're bringing you lots of content every single week. So there was an IDF operation in Jenin the other night. Jenin is just north of Nablus, north of where we are right now. A lot of terrorism comes from Jenin. It's known as a terrorist hotbed here in Judea and Samaria. So the IDF goes in there quite frequently to do counter-terror operations to arrest wanted terrorists. And a lot of times it ends up in a gun battle between the terrorists and the IDF. So Sunday night, IDF soldiers, along with a counterterrorism unit of the border police, they went into Jenin to arrest 3 wanted terrorists. During this operation, a gun battle started between IDF forces and armed terrorists. Palestinian Arab sources reported that 3 terrorists were injured, while there were no injuries among the Israeli forces. The border police also seized quite a number of weapons. According to the Palestinian Authority's health ministry, they reported it immediately. A 16-year-old girl was unfortunately shot dead during the gun battle with IDF soldiers. So, according to an internal IDF investigation, they did a small investigation right away. This came out on Monday morning. An Israeli soldier may have accidentally killed the 16-year-old girl. Again, it's not a conclusion. It's just a quick investigation from the IDF. The officer who announced this report, he noted that the border police officer who allegedly fired the shot, it's not confirmed, which killed Zarken, is an outstanding and decorated sniper who probably misidentified and accidentally struck her while she was standing next to an armed terrorist on a rooftop. She was standing next to a terrorist on a rooftop. We're going to get into that more in just a second. The officer said, quote, "The force was fired upon about a minute after they exited the vehicle while undercover, and so the other forces had to come to rescue them. The rescue lasted about an hour according to plan and included the positioning of 2 of our sniper squads on 2 buildings. With the joining of the forces, there was a lot of firing on the force. A decorated and experienced border police sniper spotted 2 figures on a rooftop, one of whom was armed and opened fire. He shot at one of the figures when she tried to run away. We estimate that she was standing next to one of the armed men. She may have been observed and mistakenly identified as a gunman. Unfortunately, she was killed." The IDF also added to this statement, they said, "The claim that security forces shot at uninvolved people on purpose is unfounded and baseless." Apparently, the border police, as I said before, they cooperated with the IDF in this operation. They said the IDF were too hasty in this report. They said there wasn't any conclusion to this. There wasn't any evidence that the IDF actually shot her. So they said the IDF were too hasty in publishing this report. Of course, the United States State Department rushed to condemn the increasing violence in the West Bank, and they called for accountability from this incident. Here's Ned Price with his statement.
Well, similarly, Saeed, we do express our profound condolences to the family of Jenin Zakaria, the young teenage girl who was killed. It is a tragic incident. It's a heartbreaking incident. Anytime you hear of a civilian being killed in these types of operations. We understand the IDF is undertaking an investigation into what happened. We hope to see accountability in this case. I did note that outgoing Prime Minister Lapid did offer his condolences to the family of Jenin Zakaria, and we note that her tragic death comes in the context of the escalating violence in the West Bank that we've noted and lamented for some time now. It is this alarming increase in Palestinian and Israeli deaths and injuries, including injuries to numerous children, and now the death of a young Palestinian teenager. We reiterate the need for all parties to take steps to de-escalate the situation. It's vital that the parties themselves take urgent action to prevent even greater loss of life.
MK Itamar Ben Gvir responded to this statement from the U.S. State Department. He said, quote, "The comments by the American government are distressing. When hundreds of bullets were fired by terrorists at IDF soldiers and border police officers, we cannot judge our soldiers as if they're working in a laboratory situation. Without a doubt, the teenage girl's death is a tragedy, but there is also no doubt that any other army in the world would have completed the kind of operation we carried out in Jenin, with dozens of hostiles killed and not with measured, pinpointed operations." He's saying the Israel army, the IDF, is very careful in their operations. Their standards of procedure is very high. They're one of the most moral armies in the world. So he's saying any other armies, there would have been a lot more civilians killed, basically. At this time, at the time of the incident, it just so happened that Virginia Gamba, she is the UN Special Representative of the Secretary General for Children in Armed Conflict. I didn't know that was a position until today. She was visiting the Palestinian Authority at the time of this incident. The Palestinian Authority Prime Minister, Mohammed Shtayyeh, said that she must place Israel on the blacklist of countries with armies that commit grave violations against children in situations of armed conflict. He said, quote, "The murder of the child Ajana Majdi Zakarne adds to the horrific murders of children that the occupation soldiers continue to commit." No, there is not murder of Palestinian children happening by the occupation forces. The IDF were going in on a self-defense mission to take out terrorists who have been killing innocent Israeli civilians. Guess what the news media had to say about this incident? Al Jazeera: Israeli forces kill Palestinian teen in occupied West Bank raid. CNN: Israeli military admits shooting 16-year-old Palestinian girl, calls it unintentional. Haaretz: 16-year-old Palestinian girl killed by Israeli army gunfire in Jenin, health ministry says. Moving on, the Knesset just elected Likud MK Yariv Levin as a temporary Knesset speaker. So, Levin ran against MK Merav Ben Ari, who is a Yesh Atid lawmaker representing the outgoing government, and also against Hadash Ta'al chief MK Ayman Odeh. The vote was originally scheduled to be held Monday. It took place on Tuesday and was 64 for Levin, 45 for Ben Ari, and 5 for Odeh. All of the right-wing and religious lawmakers aligned with Prime Minister-designate Benjamin Netanyahu, of course, voted for Levin. So this is just a temporary position. He will serve temporarily as Knesset Speaker, and he will probably also be a top candidate for the Justice Ministry once the new government is established. So moving on. Guys, don't ask me why, but former U.S. President Bill Clinton just received an honorary doctorate from the University of Haifa. According to JNS, the degree was bestowed upon Clinton for his longtime commitment to the State of Israel for promoting coexistence in the Middle East and for the Clinton Global Initiative's involvement in social and economic stability. What I want to get into now is there was a new poll conducted by the Palestinian Center for Policy and Survey Research. First, there was a poll from a few months ago, from September, and in this poll, it said that 86% say they're 86% of Palestinian Arabs in Judea and Samaria and the Gaza Strip. They say there's corruption in the Palestinian Authority institutions, and then 73% say there's corruption in Hamas. 57% say the PA has become a burden on Palestinian people, and only 12% trust Palestinian Authority statements regarding the transfer of salary payments of laborers who work inside Israel to Palestinian banks. And then 73% believe the Palestinian Authority government is not doing enough to reduce prices. Satisfaction with President Abbas stands at 26%, and dissatisfaction at 71%, and 74% demand Abbas's resignation. So this shows pretty clearly the public is fed up with the Palestinian Authority and Mahmoud Abbas. Mahmoud Abbas is 12 years over his term limit. 69% of the Palestinian Arabs say they support the holding of presidential and legislative elections. So that was the poll from a few months ago, from September. Then there was a new poll conducted just last week, and in this poll, 72% of the public 84% in the Gaza Strip, and 65% in the West Bank say they are in favor of forming armed groups such as the Lion's Den, which do not take orders from the PA and are not part of the PA's security services. 87% say the PA does not have the right to arrest members of these armed groups in order to prevent them from carrying out attacks against Israel. So the majority of the Palestinian public is for armed violence, for standing up against the occupation. So the conclusion is, yes, while it's really sad that this 16-year-old Palestinian girl was killed in this gun battle, terrorism is on the rise. The IDF has to do something. So they were going into Jenin to take out armed terrorists because, as I said, the majority of Palestinians support terrorism, and the violence has been increasing. There's been a lot more terrorism happening recently, so the IDF had to do something. That's why they were going in, and if she was killed by the IDF, it's not proved yet. It was for sure an accident. There's no way that it was done on purpose or intentionally. Guys, let us know what you think in the comments below. Tune out the fake news and tune into what is actually happening in the land of Israel. We'll be back every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with your direct connection to the land and people of Israel.